Good afternoon. And let me take this opportunity, being in Greece, to start in the following way. Among other beauties we can find here is one of the highest peaks in Europe, that is Mount Olympe. And there are various tracks that can lead you to the top of this mountain. Some are less and some are more difficult. But nevertheless, people throughout the centuries and today managed to succeed, and they climbed it. So, our peak is, in our opinion, the extension of the SDAC and SIDC, is the successful implementation of market coupling projects in the region. So in our panel, we will primarily focus on this topic to see where we are with the extension process throughout the energy community contracting parties countries. Therefore, it's my privilege to say, first of all, hello to our colleague, Mr. Artur Lorkowski, the Director of Energy Community Secretariat, to whom I would first address the question where we are with the transposition of the EU legislation into the national legislations. As we know, energy community contracting parties are endeavored in this process. Some are probably progressed more, some less. I would like to hear a bit how is your perspective on where we are. Is the process in some way jeopardized? Is the MCO plan, implementation plan adoption maybe jeopardizing this, being lengthy, or is it maybe even the vice versa? So the transposition and where we stand.
Thank you very much, Andrzej, for having me, but also, let me express my gratitude to the all NEMO's committee and to each NEMO individually for your, long-standing commitment of having the European Union electricity markets to be expanded to the countries of the energy community. I know how difficult it is to get some positive messages from the energy community. I'm doing that on a daily basis. But this is not your job, this is my job. But nevertheless, I'm very happy that the energy community countries and the energy community has found a very loyal and very pragmatic partner in this project. And I would like to express my gratitude. It is very, very much appreciated. The fact that you invited me and the colleagues from power exchanges and the prospective NEMOs is, and the fact that they accepted and me accepted this invitation is the proof that there is an added value, that there is a common business to be done on both sides. And let me also assure you that the Secretariat will be doing whatever is in our position to support the process of transposition and then the implementation. And of course, I can start with saying the glass is half empty, that we have a delay, that the deadlines have expired. This is all true, but maybe let's, somehow take some atmosphere to be more on the positive note. I think, and I will be elaborating on that soon, but before doing that, let me also express that the extension of the single day-ahead and intraday market could be perceived as the project itself, because in the previous panels we have seen already the explanation of the reasons why we have to do it, and why it is mutually beneficial to extend the project to the contracting parties of the energy community. But there is an additional element which I also want to emphasize at the beginning. This is the issue of the implementation by the European Union of the carbon border adjustment mechanism, and the market coupling with the energy community countries is very closely linked with that. So the CBAM impose another rationale, another argument why I believe we should work on that very intensively in the months to come. Transposition is a very individual process in each country, because the countries they are facing, or this process is facing, the problem of the lack of the direct applicability of the EU legislation in the contracting parties. So each piece of legislation has to be properly transferred and translated into the national legislation. It might have the impact on the quality of the legislation and the full compliance, and maybe we'll be elaborating on that. But let me also stress that the work has not started in 2022 with the adoption of the Energy Community electricity integration package. It has started several years ago, and today we have several proofs of this work which has been done. So by establishing the power exchanges in the region, by launching subsequently in these countries the organized electricity markets, a lot of has been already done, and a lot has been already achieved. The transposition itself, as I said, started progressing, and I think this is the good signal. So the Secretariat is working very closely with Montenegro, which is the country being the closest to reaching this Olymp. Of course, it would require still some implementation works, but we believe that the ministry took the good decision of having or accepting the support of the Energy Community Secretariat in drafting the legislation. And now we are about in a couple of days from now, the cross-border electricity exchange law will be subject to the public consultation. So we hope that Montenegro can really expedite the process of transposition soon. We have been very much engaged very recently in drafting and consulting the Serbian law. The process of public consultation has been just completed, and we are expecting it to be taken to government for the adoption and then to parliament. But let me also shed light on the eastern partners. Moldova is very fast in doing the necessary approximation process. And also Ukraine, the Secretariat together with USAID Finance Project in July already provided the government with the whole package of legislative act needed to be adopted. And we hope that this batch of legislation will be registered in the parliament soon. So the process is moving. However, this is not something we can observe in all of the contracting parties. My concern is with Bosnia-Herzegovina, the country where the organized electricity market does not exist. And basically this is the reason why I'm visiting Bosnia-Herzegovina again next week, to find the way of moving forward, taking into account the complicated political situation in this country and constitutional situation in this country, but also having in mind that basically Bosnia-Herzegovina is the biggest exporter of the electricity from the region to the European Union. So having Bosnia-Herzegovina on board would really enforce the process. So again, thanks for your support, for your commitment, for staying with us, and for being open and pragmatic. Still, I think there's a lot of job and homework to be done on the energy community and government side in the energy community parties. However, we see some positive developments, and I hope these developments will be enhanced in months to come.
Then thank you for giving us a reflection on this legislation transposition. But I would like to go one more step deeper in terms of investigating this side of business, MCO implementation plan. After latest clarifications by European Commission and Acer, it's still not completely clear when the MCO implementation plan will be finally adopted. You're monitoring that process as well. Would you share with us how do you see the main obstacles that we are not there yet, and when could we expect that the documented question is adopted?
Thank you very much, Anje. Really, you are diving into the detail, but the detail which is quite instead of going up. So that was the promise. But let's dive, because I think the MCO IP is quite a substantial benchmark to be still achieved for the contracting parties. I mentioned before that even before the adoption of the Energy Community Electricity Integration Package, the electricity markets and the power exchanges have been established in the contracting parties, and then they have been nominated as a indicative NEMOs for the energy community. However, this nomination is only indicative until the process of the transposition of this legislation I have been elaborating the previous point will be completed in the Energy Committee party, so that only after having the transposition process completed and after having the proper legislation which is mandating the existing power exchanges to execute certain functions of NEMOs in line with the European integration, then we can say that we have compliantly designated NEMO in the Energy Community Party. This is the approach which has been agreed with all NEMO committee several months ago, and we are following it very closely, and we are really willing to use this approach also to accelerate the transposition process. You are asking very precise question on timing. When? My expectation would be, as I mentioned, that soon we will get the law in Montenegro properly adopted and aligned with the European Union legislation. This is my expectation, and I would expect that then we can, and we have already discussed it with the regulatory authority, how to find the fast track for reappointing the NEMO in the way which is fully aligned with the European Union integration, so that you can take the Montenegrin NEMO as the first one for the MCO implementation plan and deliver it for ACER for the approval in line with the European Union rules. So this is the approach. Of course, hoping that the others subsequently will be joining after the homework when it comes to the transposition of legislation will be delivered.
Thank you for sharing this insight. As you have mentioned, Arthur, before, today with us is a number of the representatives, the CEOs of the power exchanges in the energy community contracting parties. So 6 colleagues of ours sitting to our right. I would, based on the time limitation, to have switch now our debate into their direction, starting with Miloš Mladenovic, asking him from the business aspect, could you tell us which local and regional decisions you find relevant when you're thinking about your country, energy community contracting parties, countries, market integration process with IM?
Thank you, Andrzej. This is advantage to sitting in the same management board with the moderator. So, but I will not misuse this advantage, so I will be also concise as possible. As it is already mentioned before, so I will put, how I say, more emphasis on maybe on ADEX than on CPEX. Concerning the Serbian market, maybe just to add what Arthur already mentioned, that our energy law is in public hearing on the final stage. And within this new version, it is also recognized because CPEX is designated as an NEMO according to the governmental decision, and it is already recognized in the transitional provision that in fact this NEMO status, according to the new legal and regulatory framework fully aligned with the EU regulation will be extended for additional 4 years. So in some way, it will not, my understanding is that it will not be needed some more formal reappointment, but it seems that we will be appointed very soon according to the EU regulation. So this will maybe also help to provide this NCO IP as soon as possible. So this is the first topic. Also, on the other hand, you all, how I say, know now from the previous discussion that we have established ADEX 2 years ago together with our Slovenian friends, and on some way CEPEX were front runners here in the region. We heard about the jubilees. Next year will be 10 years of CEPEX as the first non-EU power exchange here in the region. And this ADEX story, I think this is a really good example of success story, which is designed and implemented fully on the bottom-up way. I would like just to mention that not on the NEMO committee, but in some different Athens forum format, we have discussed about the market coupling for the last 10 years, because just to mention that we have started with the first market coupling discussion with our 4 MMC colleagues. Julie is here. We are all together to remember this even 10 years ago. Also, we have, together with Konstantin and with our Croatian friends, we also started with trilateral market coupling before the CACM guidelines became mandatory. So this is a little bit paradoxal situation that instead to push for the market coupling, this top-down new legislation, in fact, we have been stuck down with this and blocked with this new legal framework. Also, we had, together with Apex both from the technical and business point of view, we have been fully ready. Now, of course, we are also from the business point of view, I would like to mention that this ADEX family is enlarged with our HUPEX Hungarian friends, but also we are servicing 2 other regional power exchanges, Montenegrin and the North Macedonian Power Exchange, which I think it is also really important because it is not mentioned here, but I think that the biggest advantage of ADEX is this, that we are fully customer-oriented, and in fact, with this one-stop shop, we will be able to provide very soon, as soon as the legal legislation provides us with this possibility to join to ESDAC and CIDIC. And just to mention that first result, for example, in the first 1 year, both for BSP and for CEPEX shows that we increase our volume. We in isolated and the BSP in the coupling mode, for example, how is it 25%, and also we increase number of participants almost to 45. So maybe this could be a message to be, how I say, maybe more pragmatic, because there is some issues which are not solved on the TSO level. I don't want to dig up because it is a very hard topic, but I really want to ask all the stakeholders to be more pragmatic. And maybe we can use these two coupling, which is currently recognized. One coupling is within the ADEX group, in fact, Serbian-Hungary coupling, because it will be very easy to be implemented. On the other side, we already heard that Italian-Montenegro coupling also progressing very well. And with some, how I say, pragmatic approach, and also on our side, we will be fully ready to provide full technical business support also to our Montenegrin and North Macedonian friends. So I'm really optimistic, and that we maybe finally can reach this goal we are talking about last 10 years.
Okay, Miloš, thank you for giving this, let's rather say, business point PX level of the topic. But Dejan, I would like to take it with you a step above, onwards, and ask you, where do you see the interdependency between pan-European regulation effects and the influence on local economies? So it's not only MCO implementation plan, it's umbrella of CACM, it's CBAM, and etc. So the overall influence, what do you expect from getting involved in market coupling projects from your local economy point of view?
Well, glad I got the easy question. It's really tough to answer this, because for Montenegro as let's say EU candidate country that is really trying to harmonize all the laws, regulations, legislations with the EU standards, It's not so easy to transition, but we are trying to fully align with the laws. But the problem is that our industry is was mainly focused on the aluminum production, on the steelworks, on cement, and we're talking about not so clean industries. So basically what we're seeing is that there will definitely be a need for certain transition in the industry, going green, going environmental, using new technology that will basically help this transition from, let's say, fossil fuels to the cleaner energy production. And the main goal here is to somehow use this, let's say, geographical strategical position of Montenegro that is actually bordering one EU country, and somehow use this to our advantage, especially considering how vast hydrological potential of Montenegro is and how vast the solar potential is. So we're hoping that this, let's say, geographical position will help us to attract new investments in renewable production in Montenegro. And on that topic, I must say that we just recently closed the public debate, and it was put to the General Assembly for the adoption for a standalone law regarding renewables in Montenegro. This is something that we didn't have so far, and this is also one of the ways how we are planning to stimulate new sources being built and implementing auctions for the feed-in premium tariffs. And the work that we are doing, and I must emphasize that we're doing as the entire electricity energy sector in Montenegro, is huge, because we are now all on the same page. I must say, finally, we're all on the same page, because it's a collective effort to transition and to basically put every puzzle piece in its place in order to advance. So it's a bit exhausting, but it's a necessary work that needs to be done. Because what we understood basically from CBAM, that is basically knocking at the door, is that we need to align with the EU directives. We do have a certain ETS in place. We had it since 2020, but the price on it is so much lower than the EU one. So we also need to do certain work about regarding rising those prices. It is really difficult when the half of your industry is basically based on the dirty production. But the thing is that our goal is to have the prices matched by the January of 2030. So, like I said, it's a collective effort. We are basically trying to do what we can in the tempo that we can. We made some hard promises, and we are trying to fulfill them, especially about implementing the entire electricity integration package into our legislation. I must say that today, I believe, was the last day of the public debate regarding the new energy law, which also was done with the help of the consultants provided by the Energy Community Secretariat. And also we are working on this law on cross-border energy exchange that will basically be our variation of the CACM. So the goal is to basically align the majority of the laws in Montenegro as much as it is possible with the EU one by the end of this year.
Thank you, thank you, Dejan. We've heard that you're in well-advanced position by Artur in the implementation and transposition, so I kind of find it appropriate that the hard questions go into your direction, Moving to Sokol. Sokol, you encountered, as far as I know, some obstacles when approaching SDAC, SIDC regional pan-European projects. Could you elaborate what you had in mind?
Thank you, Anže. Before to go the impediment for any NEMO during its journey to integrate it in European market, I have to recap some achievement that show that any contracted party can be able to adapt it to standard of SDAC. As ARPEX had been successfully implemented SDAC model in our market coupling between Albania and Kosovo. That is the crucial step that bring both countries closer to the European electricity market model and demonstrating that technical and professional and operational foundation required for such integration is in place. I have to thank our dedication for the ARPEX staff and the TSO staff that has made a great job in order to implement it such standard in our market, allow our market participant to operate it in environment that is similar with the European market model. Recently, we are completely and finalize all the testing for the intraday auction. The same with standard of SIC, that the commencement date left to be set and probably will be in November. These are solid foundation for integration of our country in European market, and we can indeed achieve that. Despite that, there is a risk inherent during our journey for integration in the European market. In order to mitigate such a risk, we are keen to expedite the process for getting observership in SDAC first, in second time in SDIX, and for the observership in Italian border working table. Delays in such process does not streamline our integration in European market. We fully understand that procedure should be there, but in same times we understand that a dedicated number from the EU NEMO, in particular from EU TSO, should be for such integration. Otherwise, the integration can be jeopardized. We have a success story in a 9-month market coupling between Albania and Kosovo without any decoupled case. I just want to jinx it, not to but it's not enough. Our let's say target is to implement it in the European market. To implement it in the European market, some are related in our end, especially for technical readiness, and some are related in let's say political end in order to transpose respective legislation and regulation to be in line with the European ones. And the most important things relate in your as DAC governments and the SDIC governments. I urge you to deal fair this process. You will receive many applications for integration of border between one EU country and country that belongs to the energy community. This came from the CBAM implementation in 2026. And this process should be handled carefully, fair, and the only principle should be merit based on the performance. So who is perform well, timely, can be integrated first. No preference from political point of view and preference from economical point of view. Otherwise, the process would be jeopardized. This is our concern during this process. We see many obstacles on that, and we wanted the integration to put simply in the market principle, not other principle. Thank you.
Thank you, Sokol. Zoran, as far as I know, this is your first international appearance. after stepping into the role of CEO of NEMO, for which congratulations. We all look forward to work aside with you in our regional cooperation in the upcoming period. Coming from the angle where you're standing, can you please elaborate the importance of national decision-making process for the entry of individual energy community contracting party into internal market? And secondly, I would like to ask you if you see that day-ahead and intraday are on the same level, path, speed, dynamics, or are they moving in a bit parallel worlds? Please.
Good afternoon. I want to thank Anže for the question and to the organizers of all NEMO Committee Annual Conference for giving us opportunity to discuss these important topics regarding these issues. These issues are of great concern for all stakeholders involved in energy community contracting parties. The decision-making process at national level is crucial in integrating individual contracting parties. As Macedonian electricity market moves towards this integration, we must acknowledge the need of having a delicate balance between the alignment of legislation alignment and the local specifics of our market. The integration of individual energy community contracting parties into the single European electricity market requires a careful navigation through the decision-making processes at national level and the European framework such as single day-ahead market and single intraday market. For NEMO as a power exchange and nominated NEMO in our country, the success of this integration depends on several key factors, one of which is clearly defined certainty in the process of integration. For example, the delay of adoption of EnC implementation plan could jeopardize the legislative alignment, potentially causing more broader delays in of adoption of the European legislation. We are already in the process of transposing the integration package into our national frameworks, and any holdups for any way, especially from the EnC implementation plan, could cause a significant delay in the process. However, the reverse is also true. The delay in adoption of our national legislative alignment could stall the EnC implementation plan adoption, creating an infinite loop of delays in the process. Regarding the second part of the question, both day-ahead and intraday market are both crucial and play a vital role for this market integration. While day-ahead market often takes precedence due to its impact on the market liquidity and market stability, the development of intraday market remains essential. Although challenges do exist, I'm confident that we will see in the energy community contracted parties advanced development of intraday market as we gain more clarity and momentum into the integration process. Ultimately, the commitment to a unified market will bring us more opportunity and benefits for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to the SDAC speed and dynamics with Andre, but before we go to that, I would like to extend the scope of our discussion outside the scope of the Western Balkans, and let's switch to Ukraine. So, Alexander, which issues do you see in the current draft of MCO integration plan, and where is, by your opinion, the Ukraine on the way to the implementation, the integration into the EMA?
Firstly, thank you for opportunity of participation on this conference. It's a big pleasure for me. For better understanding of my words, we prepared the presentation, and if it's possible, maybe we can go through the slides. I know that it's new from our side, from Energy Community NEMO, some presentations, but we will try that.
We are very limited in time,
Yeah,
so I would kindly ask you if you could
Yeah,
point out the
I
main
will-
bullets of
I
your
will ask.
presentation.
So, firstly, that thing that we want to mention, that successful market coupling is only possible with close European Union and energy communities cooperation. Market coupling is a two-way street where both European Union and energy communities, NEMOs, must move forward to meet in the middle. So that's why we put that on the slide. It's number 2. Can you put that on the screen? These words, please, next slide. Good. So, of course, first of all, there is need to finalize and submit the market coupling operation integration plan. However, before doing that, it is vital to address key issues such as possibility of energy community NEMOs to carry out the MCO function and the difference in voting rights between European Union and energy community NEMOs. We are actively engaged in this process, and I would like to thank everyone who is engaging on European Union NEMO side for their contribution and openness for the ideas. I'm sure we will prevail these issues. Secondly, finding a solution for applications of TCMs in relation to energy community NEMOs is also required. Currently, there is no clear procedure on how TCMs apply to energy community countries. Consider that pan-European TCMs apply only to the market participants in member states, and each TCM includes a specific list of participants it relates to. Next slide, please. From energy community side, there are a lot of work to do too. It should be noted that adherence of energy community counterparties to single day-ahead coupling and single intraday coupling is different from adherence of member states. And the main reason for that extends of borders and applications of different legal regimes. Energy community NEMOs could be integrated into single day-ahead coupling and single intraday coupling only through LIPS. It's understandable. In that context, I would like to report significant process in the established of Eastern European local implementation project, which covers borders of Ukraine and Moldova with neighboring European countries. I am pleased to announce that Memorandum of Understanding, which essentially creates the Eastern European LIP, is in its final stage. The wording of text has been agreed upon, and signatures for all parties are pending. Next slide, please. Last but not least, during European Union energy community gap analysis on all levels, from regulatory to physical, is a prerequisite for successful market coupling. In case of Ukraine, there are certain characteristics of the grid that should be analyzed before market coupling starts. For example, the line, the Brotwir-Zamach, which connects Ukrainian thermal power plant with Polish grid, there is an opinion of excluding it from market coupling or changing the topology of the network should be duly evaluated. It's crucial to highlight again, existing borders create a whole number of tax and customs obstacles that need to be removed on a contractual basis. Both sides have to be elaborate on possible ways to do that. So maybe that's all from our side. Thank you for the attention. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer to it.
Thank you, Alexander. You dived into various interest topics, but since we have to move along with the program, let us continue with our Georgian colleagues, and we can afterwards debate outside in terms that you've opened. So, Irakli, there's no physical connection yet between Georgia and European markets. Nevertheless, I would like to ask you, when you were looking at the MCO implementation plan, when you were looking at the practice, how the European market evolved beforehand, do you see that it allows, the way it's concepted now, again, the approach in waves, since you would be probably catching the wave after? And stemming from this question, when do you perceive that the way after comes for you, comes for Georgia? Meaning, of course, the integration or the coupling with the European internal market.
Thanks for inviting. Honored to be here. Georgian Electricity Exchange was launched about 3 months ago in July 2024, and still it is a transitory model from the existing model to the future Georgian target model. It is transitory because we still do not have balancing market active and we don't have hourly imbalance responsibility. Our attempt to move to have one step move from existing market to the perfect market did not happen. So we after several tries, the big bang did not happen. So the policymakers decided to move step by step approach and start by launching the exchange and prepare a plan for implementation of the balancing market and imbalance responsibilities. So it seems that the market was not main stakeholder. Some of the stakeholders were not ready to move from the existing market to the future market model. And this is one of the, not only, but this is one of the reasons for delaying the launch several times. Of course, to talk about, to move to kind of interconnections, one of the challenges was to launch the market in the region where none of our main trading partners, the major trading partners do not have the market we plan to implement. And the issues, the challenges to be addressed was related not only to changes to the internal market parts, but also TSO connections and cross-border trade. It's true that Georgia currently do not have interconnection with the European Union. It's at the moment difficult to talk about MCO plans and implementation. We just started the journey after several tries, and in the future there is an ongoing project of Black Sea undersea cable, which is implemented in cooperation with 4 countries, two from European Union and Georgia and Azerbaijan. And if the project is successful and implemented, I think this could be the milestone after which we can talk and discuss the integration plans. And I believe that if there is a win-win situation, benefit for all sides, then integration and coupling could be realized. Thanks.
Thank you, Irakli. So, Andre, in the debate we have so far presented by the CEOs and Artur, we heard transposition of legislation, we heard MCO implementation plan as constitution, we heard handling of local specifics, we heard different dynamic or parallelization of SDAC versus SIDC process. But it is our common goal at the end of the day that we find the right track, that we find the right path in order that market coupling is as soon as possible introduced, that we reach our peak with whom we start at the beginning. So I would like to ask you from European perspective as expert and as intraday chair, SIDC chair, to tell me what is in your view the policymakers' readiness on one hand, and on the other hand, the SDAC SIDC operational readiness to onboard the newcomers.
Yep, thank you everyone, and good afternoon. So I'm glad that those pillars that you mentioned were mentioned several times today, because it's indeed in the legislation we clearly have the path, how to continue, starting with the transposition, but that's not the only pillar. Then is MCO implementation plan, followed by the establishment of capacity calculation region. And this is very important to highlight that these 3 pillars need to be implemented before we can start the physical implementation of the coupling. Of course, in the meantime, parties can get ready. By getting ready, I strongly encourage to start the regional discussions and the discussions on the border, because we can integrate probably border per border for the intraday. We have integrated on a regional basis in the ahead several times. And I'm glad we have relatively good track record technically We are ready. As you can see, you have seen today, we have developed intraday coupling in 5 waves. We integrated ETPA last year. We integrated BRM this year. We integrated several waves before that, and we will be able to integrate another waves afterwards. Certainly, we have already planned for it. We are expecting that there will be newcomers coming. Of course, we need, especially those who are ready, and here I'm glad that this was mentioned today, because we cannot wait for everyone. We cannot do it in one step probably. We will need to create some waves, but those waves also can't contradict with our other duties that we have. We heard today in R&D section that there is a lot ahead of us, and we cannot delay that. Yeah, this is not the only project that single intraday and single day ahead coupling is handling. We are introducing all those things you heard before. So I would say that technically we are quite ready. On the policymaker session, we need to identify how to progress with the MCO integration plan. This is quite important. We get a feedback from Commission last year. We get different feedback this year. We are waiting to get that desperately in writing so that we know what to do and how to progress. The MCO IP will be a very good milestone. Once we got that, we will know how to proceed. Without that, we have nothing approved that will give us a lead how to proceed on a technical basis. And in the meantime, we will try to also solve all those observership and NDA status. We were expecting that the transposition will be first. Now we need a little bit to handle the situation that we do not have yet the transposition everywhere, and we will need to probably create some new innovative way how to get everyone on board on, I would say, at least to get the right material to the right people so that they can start preparing. This is our key goal now, and we are working heavily on MCO IP.
Thank you, Andre. Do we have a couple of minutes for questions and answers?
Yes, sure.
Okay, sure, fine.
And
Then
we
please.
already checked the first question.
Thank you. I'm Faruk Sedalic from USAID Regional Program. I have a question for Artur, or maybe for you, Andre. We heard that they are, most of them, technically and even economically ready for integration. But it was mentioned so many times the transposition of CSCM as a crucial, obviously, so many times today. Is it decided who is going to acknowledge, to certify that one country appropriately, sufficiently transposed CSCM? I didn't understand so far that it is known, because all of them, they have that same question. When we are discussing with the ministry, say, nobody knows who is going to say, you are right, you are ready. So maybe it's decided, so thanks.
If I may, on that specific point, as I mentioned in my previous intervention, the direct applicability of the European law is not the case in the contracting parties of the energy community. So each of the 9 pieces of the legislation we have already now on the table, they have to go through the national legislative procedures. Some of them, they can be adopted by the government, by the parliament, government and parliament. Some of them, they can be taken and adopted by the regulatory authority. So this is the reality. So it is expected that even not intentionally, that because of that fact, some deviations could be expected when it comes to the compliance with the European Union legislation. That is the reason why, I mean, for me, even more important than certifying is now engaging with the contracting parties in producing the high-level quality legislation in the countries. Because, I mean, just stating the obvious that something is in compliant would not bring me closer to the objective. So for me, it is so important that we now are engaging with our consultants in the preparation of the high-quality legislation for the governments and for the parliaments to be adopted. And thanks to USAID and for the project, because you are also engaging in the very similar processes throughout the countries. But responding to your question directly, this is the legal obligation of the Energy Community Secretariat to confirm to assess and to confirm the compliance of the transposition process with the European legislation, so that the level playing field could be provided. We will be doing that in any way for the compliance procedures we have. We'll be opening the non-compliance procedure, and this is our normal work. So if that could be used and will be acknowledged by the other stakeholders being part of the market coupling project, this information will be also shared with you. For doing that in the well-organized way, we have already offered to all of the contracting parties the possibility to finance the operation of the concordance tables, which are the normal way of checking the compliance and the completeness of the transposition process, and we will be able to engage our resources in the preparation of this document, so that not only for the Energy Community Secretariat, to the stakeholders, but also to the member states of the European Union, this clarity on the compliance with the EU of the transposition process could be adequately provided.
Thank you, and we have one more question from the audience.
Thank you. Yasmina Trhulj, Energy Community Secretariat. I'm very glad to see today all our NEMOs together, but as we are talking regularly, I actually have a question for Andre Matza. And my question is the following, because all of our NEMOs, they tend to be monopoly. Actually, at the moment, kind of, they have monopoly status, but they would like also through now these changes of the law to preserve this monopoly status. My question to you is, in the process of extension, so during the project, does it make difference if they're monopoly or M&A model in the countries, and is it important for the project itself if there are some changes in the middle of the project moving from monopoly to competitive? So just that. Thank you.
Yeah. As you probably know, in day-ahead and both intraday, we do have mixture of monopoly and non-monopolistic NEMOs. And we are ready to support both, also in the EnC countries. It doesn't make big difference. There is slight differences. If you have competing NEMOs, you need the M&A arrangement. And the M&A arrangement is another policy that needs to be handled through regulation, probably. Someone needs to approve, and someone needs to describe how it works, especially in terms of cross-border trading. So who is doing the shipper, it's technicalities, but that needs to be set. If this is done in advance of introduction of competition in those countries, then it's perfectly fine, and we are ready to support that. The only problem is if there is unclarity, and then the parties may have big disagreements.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? Yeah, one more.
Hi everybody. I have just a question regarding, we saw in the first panel that this legislative landscape is changing and that we are on the verge also of having some changes. Are there any further mechanisms? We mentioned that the main challenge was this legal transposition, but basically we could be on the verge that legal transposition is done on something that is not updated in a sense. Is there any mechanism that keeping for this? Any future changes are automatically then updated also for keeping this level playing field? Thank you.
So I understand that you are referring to the EU model being a moving target. So, and I mean, this is the challenge. I think we will be, if the CSCM review process will be continued, that at some point, if the process of transposition would be delayed further, we can face the challenge of having the obligation of transposing another set of, or updated set of EU legislation. So that's why, I mean, from the energy community perspective, kind of predictability of the destination point is needed. So we have to know that we are climbing upon Olymp, not Mont Blanc, right? So we know what is the destination. So that kind of period would be needed, and so that the processes we have been discussing today, they can be properly developed and concluded. But there is another piece of legislation I also mentioned in the European Union, not being CSEM, but this is the CBAM regulation. And some of you have already informed about the anniversaries you will be having this or next year. Energy Committee will also having the anniversary, 20th anniversary next year. But I don't want to have one gift for this anniversary, which is the fragmentation of the energy community electricity market, instead of having the integration of the market because of CBAM. Because if the CBAM would apply from 1st January 2026, and for example, if Montenegro would manage to deliver the transposition, the designation of NEMO, and would be coupled with Italy, so then the consequence of that would be how to avoid the leakage, the carbon leakage, and how to avoid, understood as the import of electricity from the other countries on the Western Balkans through Montenegro to the European Union. That would mean that, according to the CBAM regulation, I have to establish, or Montenegro have to establish the CBAM border vis-à-vis the other contracting parties of the energy community, and this is the scenario which would be not the preferred one, definitely. And I don't want to get this, present for the 20th anniversary of the energy community, understood as the fragmentation of the market. So I'm asking for the predictability of the CSEM, but in the same way, I'm asking for maybe some flexibility when it comes to the implementation of CBAM, and because that would pose a significant challenge to the economics of the trade of electricity within the energy community, especially in the Western Balkans and between the Western Balkans and the EU.
Okay, I can see no other hands raised. Then if this is the case, we can move towards the concluding remarks of today's conference, for which I would like to invite our chairman. Rafael, over to you.